For letter S, I'm going to look at a star. This is the one from the Christmas story where three kings follow a star to Bethlehem. Now, the only problem with that story is don't know that it was three, don't think they were kings. They certainly didn't follow a star, and I'm not sure they even ended up in Bethlehem. So, we're going to have to take a little bit of time on this, but I want to focus on the star, so I'll hit the others as quick as I can. 3, it's just there were 3 gifts that they gave. The whole story's in Matthew chapter 2. They give 3 gifts, so people decided there were probably 3 of them. There could be dozens, who knows. Kings, probably not. Matthew calls them mages, which is kind of a scholar, but with a mystical air to it. We know they were studying the heavens. Saw a sign in the sky, so they're probably doing astrology. They could well be sorcerers, which is a pretty nifty thing that God reached out to these dudes. But they're wise men from the east. We're not sure how far east, but it's far enough east that Matthew didn't just say this place next door. A lot of scholars think maybe like modern day Iraq or Iran, but it could be as far over as like India, China, like way off in the east. And we'll get to where they ended up. But the thing that I really want to drive home here is they did not follow a star. And we have this idea, I think it comes more from, like the Christmas carol, We Three Kings, than from the Bible. But we've got our concept of them following a star to Bethlehem. What these guys did, it says they saw the star in the east. Like, they saw something. They saw a sign in the heavens, and they interpreted that correctly to mean that the Messiah had been born. The long-awaited King of the Jews was born. And they set out to go and find him and honor him. And so where do you go to find the King of the Jews? They go to Jerusalem. These guys were not following a star, they were following a prophecy. And that matters because scientists figured out a long time ago that there is nothing, that exists or even could exist in the sky, in the night sky, that's something you can follow night after night and travel, and it'll lead you from anywhere else on the planet to Jerusalem. Like, there's just not. Nothing's going to work like that with the rotation of the earth and the circling the sun and the way the universe is. Like, it's not going to work out. But it doesn't have to. Never said they actually followed the star. Like, they saw it, they arrive in Jerusalem. And whether or not it was even a star, because it, again, probably wasn't, because stars are pretty consistent. And maybe they saw, a comet, a planet, planetary alignment. They saw some sign, and that's fine that it calls it a star. Even to this day, we call meteor showers like shooting stars, even though most of us know those are not stars at all. But, like, they show up in Jerusalem looking for the king, which freaks out the guy who actually is the current king. And he gets the scribes who know the ancient prophecies, and they said, oh yeah, well the Messiah is going to be born in Bethlehem, which is a few miles over that way. And so our wise men go, okay, cool. They head out, and they see the star again, and they're overjoyed, which is another indication that they have not been following this thing and seeing it night after night after night. Like, they saw it a while ago, they get here, and then they see it again, and like, oh my goodness, there it is again, and they're all excited. And this time they do follow it, but it sounds like just one night, so that would kind of work. It's like, there's a thing, go that way. And they arrive at the house where they find Mary and the child. That could be Bethlehem, maybe, because it's only a few miles away from Jerusalem, but it also might not be, because there's a lot of indication that this happened, a year or 2 after Jesus was born, just with like the trip they took and how Herod goes after the kids that are like 2 and under. It seems that it's been a while, and so they might still be in Bethlehem, they might be somewhere else. It's not really important. What's important is that God gave these guys a message. They were looking at things that, frankly, the scripture says not to do, astrology and get into, worshiping signs in the heavens. That's exactly what these guys were doing. But they saw a sign that somehow they knew meant that the Messiah was born, that the King of the Jews was born. And they set out to come and honor him. And God used that sign and then even gave it to them again and took them to the right spot to bring them to Jesus. And it's this cool thing of God using, what they had and where they were to reach them and to bring them to Jesus. And we turned it into this idea of following a star, which doesn't work and didn't happen, and just sets it up for criticism of people saying, oh, well, that doesn't work. It's like, yes, I know it doesn't work. They didn't do that. They followed a prophecy, and that does work. It's not about a star. It's about what God said. Let's go with that.